Hello and welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday, still in Berryville, Clarke County today, although I'm on the other side, I guess you would say, of Clarke County. Nathan Stalvey is joining me. He is the Executive Director at the Clarke County Historical Association. You may recall that last week we talked to Melanie Mullinax. Blandy's Ginkgo Gold weekends are happening. So Nathan and I have spent quite a bit of time talking to people in Clarke County the last couple of weeks.
There's a lot going on around here. I'm not gonna lie. October in the Valley and in Clarke County is nothing like it. The leaves are changing colors. The ginkgos at Blandy. Oh my goodness. If you have not experienced that, I highly recommend it. Words can't do it justice. It really is something special. So please go out there and check that out. And we all do a lot. We've got all kinds of programs going on. The fall festivals are going on. You've got events like Wayside Farm, and all the farm markets are in full swing. It really is a lot going on. And it's definitely come check out Clarke County. It's a great place to visit and spend a weekend.
This morning, as we're recording, you have just returned to the office from giving field trip tours to the fourth graders at the elementary schools in Clarke County. You're just raising yourself up a whole crop of historians, aren't you?
That's what we're hoping. And seeing the enthusiasm and the energy from these kids, it's like nothing else. So this morning we had all the fourth graders from DG Cooley Middle School come. It's part of what our annual Clarke Triangle program. They come to the Burwell-Morgan Mill. They go to Claremont and the Claremont Farm, and then they go to the Josephine School Community Museum and they rotate around. This morning we had all the fourth graders from DG Cooley, and yesterday we had all the fourth graders from Boyce Elementary School. And then we had a homeschool group come and give a tour. We gave them a tour of the mill on last Tuesday. And then last Saturday, when the mill was open, we had another homeschool group tour. So a lot of kids coming through. And one of the beautiful things is they're seeing that history is actually kind of fun and interesting. You can, if as long as you make it that way, there are some fun things to do and experience with history.
It's probably really cool to also see it through their eyes. When you're in it every day, I don't want to say it gets old, no pun intended, but it is really cool to see it through the eyes of a fourth grader who maybe hasn't seen it before or just has a different perspective because of their age.
Oh, that's exactly it. Because they're seeing something that they really can't see. I mean, a lot of their history is experienced through textbooks and online courses, whereas actually physically seeing the history, it puts it into a whole other perspective. And then seeing it for the first time, all the wows, that's probably the biggest word I hear. Wow, all that. They love guessing the weight of the water wheel, and they love seeing how the water wheel spins and getting the water almost splashed everywhere. It's fun. They do have that curiosity and that enthusiasm that is really, it's very rewarding to be giving tours like that.
And you do those types of field trips for the kids in Frederick County Public Schools, Warren County, the city of Winchester. You can do them for other schools, right?
Absolutely. Public and privates and homeschools. We do them all. Just reach out to us and we can make those dates happen. Absolutely. We do them year round. Anytime they want to come, we can do those year round.
Although it's probably not a good idea to have them when Art at the Mill is going on.
Yeah, except for Art of the Mill. Like when Art of the Mill is going on, they really can't do much, but we can still take them around and we can take them downstairs and see the gears and the water wheel and everything like that. But yeah,
So, how was Art of the Mill? Another huge success, I assume.
another huge success. We saw some increased sales during the week, which was a big surprise to us. And the Saturday sales were all very strong. So it met our budget. We're very happy with the fact that it met our budget. That makes me sleep well at night, knowing that the art show went. The art, again, amazing, beautiful. I cannot speak enough about how amazing and talented the artists are in this region. I wish I had that kind of skill. I wish I truly had that kind of talent. But some of the things I see painted in there are just incredible. We sold about 40% of the total number of pieces that were juried into the show.
That is crazy, but I agree with you. I took an art class at Shen Arts a couple of months ago, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. It was an alcohol ink class, but it also solidified why I buy art instead of make it.
I and stop me if I've told you the story before. I used to work with a guy in Kentucky. His son, he was an attorney, and his son was an artist, and he was trying to connect more with his son. So he took an art class. And this attorney, he's a very logical, very by the book kind of mind. And so he said he only went to one lesson and he couldn't take it anymore. He said, in the first lesson, the art instructor says, okay, today we're going to paint a circle or not. And he's like, well, we paint a circle or not? And he says, yes and no. And he's like, okay, I can't do this. So some people just don't have that mindset for it.
Right. My problem for this class was that I couldn't leave well enough alone. If I had stopped when I should have stopped, it
Yeah.
probably would have been a masterpiece. But I was like, let me just try this one more thing. And alcohol ink is very liquid. So
Mm.
then things spread across and it ended up not at all looking like what I wanted.
Oh
But had I
no.
stopped when I should have, it probably would have been great. So,
Oh.
what other things do you guys have coming up now that we're knee deep in the middle of fall?
So by the time of this recording, we'll have wrapped up our ghost tours, our haunted history ghost tours in downtown Berryville, and our colonial whiskey talk. Coming up, though, is our big history program, our biggest history program of the year. That's what we end on. Our Heritage Day program down at the Burwell-Morgan Mill. We're going to have reenactors, blacksmith. They're going to be grinding grain. It's going to be fantastic. A lot of different vendors coming out. So we encourage people to please come out for that. People have tables set up, lots of activities for kids of all ages. So please definitely come on out for that. So that's the big one. That's going to be Saturday, November 8th from 11 to 4, and it is free, no cost whatsoever. It is a VA 250 event. So please come on down.
That's another really great way when we're talking about those fourth graders coming on their field trips. This is another great way for parents to bring the kids out and let them see living history, more or less, and talk to all of these different groups and see all of the things that happened way before even their parents were born.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One kid's like, "Oh man, this mill is older than my mom." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a little bit older." Yes, I agree. But no, it's a great hands-on activity day. Lots of great activities. We definitely encourage people to come out. Like I said, this is our 14th year of doing it, so
And it
we
spans a
definitely keep it
pretty
up.
wide swath of history, right? I recall
Hmm.
last year when
We
we were
do
talking about it, you have people from like the French Indian War Foundation, the Revolution. You have a lot of people that come out with all different types of history.
absolutely. We also have some colonial cooking demonstrations that'll be going on as well, so that the fireplace will be up and running upstairs on the second floor. So there's a lot to see, a whole lot to see there.
And since it's free admission, that means I don't even need to get a ticket or reserve a spot or any of those
Nope.
things.
No, you don't. Just come as you are and have fun.
I assume the mill will be open and grinding grain that day.
Yes, we will be open and grinding grain that day. We're grinding buckwheat flour that day. So that's going to be a huge, gigantic mess, which will make it even more fun to watch. It's really
And
fun, the buckwheat.
I will plug that the buckwheat flour is amazing for pancakes.
It is. It is very good for pancakes. So definitely coming out, get some buckwheat flour, and make some great buckwheat pancakes with those.
Let's take a break. When we come back, when we talked the last time, you were about to open a new exhibit on the Spanish flu that is open now as we're recording and as people are listening. Can we talk a little bit more about that in the next segment?
Absolutely.
We're on the Zooms today with Nathan Stalvey. He is the executive director at the Clarke County Historical Association. We are going to talk about their new exhibit about the Spanish flu in Clarke County when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
This Saturday, Henry Mueller will change the world. He has no idea that's what he's going to do. He only knows that he went to justserve.org and signed up to spend time at a senior center Saturday morning. As he browsed through service opportunities in his own community, he remembered the words of Paul to the Galatians, "By love, serve one another." Little does Henry know that Saturday morning he'll end up speaking to one senior in particular who hasn't seen his family in several weeks and is feeling especially lonely. Henry doesn't know the short time he'll spend with this man will lift his spirits, cheer his heart, and make his life just a little better. Through love and service this Saturday, Henry Mueller will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday, Berryville, Clarke County edition. I'm on the Zooms today with Nathan Stalvey. He's the executive director at the Clarke County Historical Association. We talked in the first segment about fourth graders and field trips, and Art at the Mill is done. And Nathan, it dawned on me that this is your sweet spot. When the fall Art at the Mill ends, it's the longest period of time before you have to start planning the next one. Between spring and fall isn't very long, but between fall and spring, you get a little bit of a breather.
A little bit of a breather, not much. Once the fall art show ends, then we're also very busy because we have multiple programs in October. We have Heritage Day that's coming up. We also are entering our annual giving and budget season on top of all of that, and planning and preparing and securing our programs for 2026. So there's a lot that we're doing all at once.
You've got an exhibit now for how the Spanish flu, the impact the Spanish flu had on Clarke County. That's something that is relatively new. I mean, you have exhibits, but this is a little above and beyond, isn't it?
It is. So this was the first exhibit by our curator of archives and exhibits, Dana Getka. He joined us in June, and this is her first exhibit, and it is amazing. What she did was she did some research on the impacts that the Spanish flu had in Clarke County and really highlights the people who died from the Spanish flu. So it's a very humanistic, very personal look at the effects it had on the people in the county. And it was a significant event that really isn't talked about much, but given the population of the county and the number of people died, it was a pretty high proportion. She has a great gallery guide which talks about the people who died in the flu here in Clarke County. She took also not only a historic, but an artistic approach in the way she installed the exhibit. So you really get to see each individual name and person that died in the Spanish flu. So it's really putting a face on those who lost their lives in it. And this is her time period. The early 20th century American history is her time period. And she really did a fantastic job. Also, there is a book talk that will be happening, a book read along. It's a small book about the Spanish flu in the United States that will be occurring on Wednesday, October 29th at noon here at CCHA, the CCHA Museum in Berryville. So if anybody's interested in learning more, just come. It's about an hour. We'll have some snacks and the like, and just sitting around talking about this wonderful book. So we encourage people to please come out for it.
And it's great that you can do that in conjunction with having that exhibit there, because sometimes that's where you get more of the information than if you just come through the exhibit alone. You get so much more background, and having that conversation really broadens your perspective.
Yes, it really does. And like I said, this book for the book talk is called Pale Horse Peril Rider. And it's a read along. So we'll have copies there. It's a short novella, and it's basically about a woman who is going through flu infested Denver, Colorado, and before she goes to France. And it really does highlight all the effects that this disease was having across the world.
How long will this exhibit be available?
So we've extended it through the end of the year, and it will be up. So we encourage people to come by. It doesn't cost anything to come to see the exhibits. And we're here at 32 East Main Street in downtown Berryville.
And it's not the only thing they can see when they come through. It's an exhibit of its own, but you have other things that are somewhat permanent that people can see when they walk through.
Absolutely. We do have a permanent display as well. So people will get to see some highlights from our collection. We have a very vast collection of Clarke County historical artifacts, letters, diaries, photographs, and people get to see some of the highlights of that collection on display that really showcases Clarke County's rich history over the years.
Do you sometimes swap some of those things out while the exhibit itself is permanent? There may be different letters one time and something else another over the course of the year?
We do. We like to switch those out. It's always good to take something off display to get it out of the light for a little bit and put something new in its place. We do switch those out from time to time. Not often, but from time to time we do.
What are the hours of the museum?
So the museum is open Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 4.
And no admission fee. People can just
No
come
admission
in
fee.
and
People
wander
just come
around.
right on in. That's correct. They can just come right on in.
So I have to ask, and I'm only asking this because I know you're not coming back again before the end of the year. Otherwise, I have been chastising other guests for talking about Christmas in October. But I'm giving you a pass because you're not going to be here again. The Millwood Christmas tree lighting, you've got a date set for that. That's always a really great community event.
Oh, it really is. It's such a really cool local Christmas feel. It's going to be on December 7th at the Burwell-Morgan Mill, and it's put on by the Millwood Community Association. And it really is great. You got hot chocolate and cookies and hot cider and carolers and Santa Claus comes. It really is something. I will say, if you do come to it, bundle up. The mill is very cold. It's probably colder inside than it is outside. So just be prepared for it to be very cold inside the mill. But there's lots of great food and drink there that will be available for people to, especially the hot chocolate and the hot cider. It's always a really great community. You don't have to live in Millwood. You don't even have to live in Clarke County to come experience this. This is just this really cool community Christmas event. It's one of my favorite things that we do. I look forward to it every year.
You mentioned a second ago about end of year giving, you're working on your budget, all of that sort of stuff. I think sometimes people underestimate how important end of year giving is because it really does help you set your goals and the programs that you're going to be able to do in the upcoming year.
It really does. Annual giving is very important. This keeps the lights on. Annual giving helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep programs going. It helps us maintain our archives and our museum. It helps with the daily operations of the mill. Like, it really goes a long way. And given a lot of the cuts that have happened to some of these federal granting agencies, it's trickled down to small community museums like us. We're the stewards of local history. And we have a responsibility to the public, to the community, to do the best we can by stewarding that history, promoting that history, developing programs on that history, and really educating people on our local history and keeping it safe for years and preserved for years and years to come. But with a lot of these cuts, it's really limited. It's trickled down. So you've got the federal cuts get cut, which means the state granting agencies get a lack of funds because they get some of their money from the federal government. And then there are more museums across the country, some of the larger museums that apply for these larger federal grants that are now eyeballing the state grants. And so now that's opened up competition for limited funds. So small places like Clarke County Historical are now competing against larger museums with larger grant asks, and it hurts. So annual giving is extremely important for small organizations like ours.
And annual giving can come in many forms. I can say, hey, budgets are tight right now, but I'm going to commit to giving you $25 a month for the next year. Or I can say, hey, I've got 10 grand that I want to write off before the end of this year. And this is a great place to be able to donate that to. I could do $1,000 a month. It's pretty much set to whatever someone is able to afford at any given time.
There's a lot of different ways you can donate. It could be stock transfer. It could be hitting the donate button on our website, writing a check, bringing cash. Anything helps. And it doesn't have to be a big amount. It could be stretched over the year, month by month. It could be all at once. It could be a small amount. It could be a large amount. Any amount always helps. And that's what we always like to say, because the small stuff adds up. As long as you're donating, all of it adds up. And we're always gracious for whatever amount we get from anybody.
When you talk about stock options, are you also able for somebody to leave something to you in their will or their estate, things like that? Even things, maybe they have quite a collection themselves of some historical things that you would love to have in your archives. Are those options?
Yes, those are also options as well. If people wanted to donate via stock options or anything like that, they can certainly do that. If they wanted to donate artifacts of the collection, obviously that would go through the curator and approval process, because we have to, A, be able to have the storage to house it. B, it has to be relevant to our mission in Clarke County's history. So you can't just, hey, I've got a newspaper from Miami, Florida, the day that, Elvis died. That doesn't fit our mission, and that has nothing to do with Clarke County. But we do accept things that are relevant to Clarke County's history that we can safely preserve and store.
I imagine there's also an authentication process, because sometimes people have things that they think are something that maybe they aren't actually something.
Oh, for sure. And I'll admit that was more so in my last job at the Louisville Slugger Museum. People thought they had game used bats from baseball players when it turned out to just be bats that were bought at the store for like $10.
So where should people go? If something that we have said today has piqued their interest, where is the best first place for them to start?
ClarkeHistory.org. You'll see everything there. You'll see our events, everything about the mill. You'll see the big donate button, support button. We always look for volunteers, donations. Any way that people can support small local organizations like us is always welcome.
Thank you, my friend. I hope the Millwood Christmas tree lighting is everything that you had hoped for.
I'm sure it will be. I appreciate it. Always good seeing you, Janet.
I will be back tomorrow with my 2,500th consecutive episode. And I can say that with a fair amount of certainty because I've already recorded it. So I don't even have to worry about, wait, should I jinx myself? We'll be back tomorrow with that show. It's got a little bit of a twist to it. So meet me back here for that just a few minutes after noon.